before. Has there been such a big gap between two teams from the same division in a cup final? Let's remind ourselves of the team selection. There's the Aberdeen starting 11, and the big surprise there is the inclusion of number 17, David Rowson, who was on loan at Livingston earlier on in the season. He started just twice in the first team prior to this, so he's in, and no place for either Robbie Winters or Isham Zerouali. Both are on the bench. Gordon, how will they line up?
Well, David Rowson went there to try and get some fitness, and I think he has got it now. He's including the midfield to try and close things down, and I believe that they might just play Dow pulled back into the left-hand side. They can play him up front, of course, as he's played before in a 4-3-3 formation, but I think that with Andy Dow there, it'll be protect young McAllister at left-back, because Kinchelsea has given him a few hard games so far this season with his pace. So I think that they'll go for a more solid unit of the 4-4-2, but they can always change their 4-3-3 if need be.
So that's how Aberdeen will line up. Let's have a look at the Rangers starting lineup. Aberdeen sticking with squad numbers. Rangers revert to a 1-11 for the cup final. So a few players going through a number change. But the big surprise about the Rangers team is the return of Craig Moore. He was written off by his manager as recently as Tuesday. Dick Advocaat said there was no chance of Moore playing. He's been out for 11 weeks with injury, but back in he comes to steady the defence. Sergio Perini drops down to the bench, and Billy Dodds has proved his fitness. So 34 goals up front this season between Billy Dodds and Rod Wallace. And Jim McCloskey bowing out of senior football. He, the referee, 16 years a Class 1 ref, 9 years on the FIFA list. This is second Scottish Cup final, and he handled Rangers against Aberdeen back in '93. And that was at Celtic Park. Rangers won by 2-1. It's Cup Final 2000, and it's underway, the 115th Scottish Cup Final. Aberdeen against Rangers. Is it to be, as the bookies feel, no contest, or are Aberdeen going to have a big say in what happens here? The opening stages, as ever, in a big occasion like this, will be very important. First touch for Georges Alberts, fired in beyond Wallace, and calmly headed back by Jamie McAllister for Jim Leighton. Jim Leighton has already pocketed 4 winners' medals in this competition, 4 out of 4. And there's Andy Dow, one of Aberdeen's players of the season. He wasn't a popular figure with the Aberdeen fans not so far back, but they've certainly taken to him. He's scored a few important goals this season. Derek White on the ball. He's won the cup a couple of times in the late 80s with Celtic as a youngster. He thought that was normal behaviour at that stage to march through to the final and win. Not sure of touch there was Barry Ferguson. The reverse pass for Stavron, but he's offside. Promising start though for Aberdeen. That will give them a little bit of a lift. Andy Dow's pass, but the flag up Gordon against Stavron.
Yeah, a bit of hesitation from Barry Ferguson. Unlucky there, just strode offside of a yard or two. If he just held his run up, as Craig Moore pushed out, if he held his run up, he would have been in there, because he certainly had got himself free, but ran offside himself. Kinchelsea,
interesting confrontation this against McAllister. Whips in a dangerous ball. Jim Leighton's lost it, but he was hurt. And the whistle has gone for a free kick. That was a good ball in from Kinchelsea. That was always going to cause problems in the Aberdeen defence, and Jim Leighton's hurt.
Yeah, that was a danger they've got from Kinchelsea wide. I don't think there was any intention here, but I think he just happened to catch Rod Wallace as he went down. The ball broke free and Rangers players weren't happy, but I think it was the right decision. I think that Jim Leighton was just caught there by Rod Wallace, and certainly he would have been out of the game as that ball was breaking to Rangers players. But Kinchelsea breaking free in the right. We've seen games in the past, he's had a bit too much pace for Jamie McAllister on the side, and I think he needs a bit of protection there. But Jim Leighton certainly got a sore one, a head knock there. And the big problem that they have, obviously, is at this stage no goalkeeper on the bench. Only allowed 3 players in Scottish Cup ties. No goalkeeper on the bench. Jim Leighton looks quite badly injured.
You could see, Gordon, the expression on Ebba Skodal's face there. Don't do this to me. The stretcher is on. Jim Leighton is prone, and Aberdeen have huge problems. This was one Rod Wallace surely had to go for. Jim Leighton made a very brave save at his feet, but Wallace was the match winner, of course, 12 months ago against Celtic in last season's Old Firm final. He thought there might be a little chance of a goal there at the near post, and no harm to him. There was nothing malicious about that. But this is a sad sight for Aberdeen, and Ebbe Skodel can't disguise his emotion. And what a sad moment for Jim Leighton. This, presumably, the last occasion in which he will grace a cup final, and this was not the way he wanted it to end. You get the feeling Rangers almost sympathise here. They want this to be a contest, but the indication has now gone up from the fourth official, Martin Clark, that Robbie Winters is coming on. There's no prospect of Jim Leighton returning to the field, and Robbie Winters would have been hoping for a piece of the action this afternoon, but not in the goalkeeper's jersey. It's Ryan Essendon's number 23, which he's wearing, and how Aberdeen must wish that they'd Ryan Essendon inside it. Tony Vidmar's miss-hit pass, picked up by McAllister. That's a good storming run from the midfield by Ian Jess. And that's a corner kick. Craig Moore's challenge. Derek White is up in the penalty box. And it comes now. And it flew off the top of Thomas Solberg's head. Almost a set-piece opportunity for Aberdeen. Solberg to Dow. Bernard. Now Jess. It's a struggle though to find any room in the midfield area. Jess having a look at what's on, good vision. Waited his moment and then slipped the pass out to Anderson. Laid off by Guntveit. Then he was decked. Advantage being played. No way through for Aberdeen. And George Albert's on the counter-attack. Dodds and Wallace up ahead of him. The square pass for Kanchelskis. 25 yards out. Good hit. Well worth it from a Rangers viewpoint with Robbie Winters in goal. And that's the first serious test of Jim Leighton's replacement. Thomas Solberg with the long diagonal pass off Arena's head to Dow, through for Stavrum, made a good run, kept himself onside. Craig Moore sticking close, but not close enough. Stavrum's through. What can he create here? Well positioned was George Alberts to cut out the cutback as Aberdeen worked their way into a promising position.
Yeah, it was lovely play again, Stavrum. Nice turn, Craig Moore. Maybe just a lack of match fitness again there, just being turned the edge of the box. I thought Stavrum might have made a bit more of it, but didn't quite get the break. George Alberts had made a good covering. He'd run across and just took it away from the toe of Jess.
Kanchelskis away from McAllister. Now Rod Wallace, saved by Winters. Brilliant touch onto the crossbar. Well, you would have put all your money on Rod Wallace there, opening the scoring. He really caught the shot, and a superb reflex save by Robbie Winters stops Aberdeen going one down. Van Bronckhorst through for Alberts, needed a touch to get it under control. Didn't quite get there. Derek White with the interception. Russell Anderson's lost out to Rod Wallace. That's for Dodds, but the cross always looked too strong. It was a mistake by Aberdeen in the wide position, and Wallace had the chance to set up Dodds.
Yeah, he did. He just overhit it a little bit. You can see here it's just swinging away. Billy Dodds still thinks it's on to the volley, but it's just beyond him. Chance before that too for Alberts. If he just, as you said, Rob, just got the touch on it, then Robbie Winters was caught in no man's land.
Andy Dow has switched from left to right momentarily. Ariel Stavrum, early ball in. Craig Moore showing some hesitation, and the ball just ricocheted off David Rowson and behind the goal of Stefan Klos. But again, there may be signs of a little bit of rustiness about Craig Moore. A long ball from Alberts for Newman is perfection. Arthur Newman waiting for the ball to come down, then tried to turn it back for Wallace. Didn't quite get enough contact on it. Well, that was a marvellous pass from Alberts. Inch perfect. Russell Anderson looks to have hurt himself. It was his badly timed challenge on Barry Ferguson, but it may well be that he comes off worse.
Yeah, it was a badly timed challenge there, because Ferguson did get the last touch on the ball, put it with his left foot. Anderson's gone through him, and once again, it could be either player who's badly hurt. Difficult to tell at this stage who is going to come off worse there.
Now, which one of those is 007? Can you remember?
It's hard to say which one. I don't know. Double agent. I think Craig's also a double agent as well.
What we could do with a double agent as Scotland manager sometimes, but Craig Brown there alongside Sean Connery, taking in the action, and like us, waiting for it to resume, which it's about to do now. George Alberts with a free kick onside Van Bronckhorst, and Rangers have the lead. Aberdeen were caught sleeping in defence. The free kick taken quickly by Alberts, and Van Bronckhorst's shot went right through Robbie Winters.
Incredible. I could see the run coming. I can't believe none of the Aberdeen defence did as well. I think they were looking for offside in the end up, but you couldn't afford to stop there. Look at that, straight through the defence. The ball stopped. Solberg's caught out. Derek White should be maybe the one chasing, because it's in his angle. It's across to the diagonal behind the first centre-half. Second centre-half should maybe been across, but Robbie Winters couldn't do much about that. I'm just saying how well they had done up to that point. They'd stopped Rangers creating anything. They've gone to sleep. A free kick, and no one's tracked the run of Van Bronckhorst.
Solberg's pass to Rowson. Rangers making it difficult for Aberdeen to pass their way out of defence.
Yeah, they're not playing with the same fluency as they were, Rob, are they? I mean, they're taking a bit too long to make the passes. There seem to be loads of movement early on, and probably the positional changes I've had to make now as well, with David Rowson, who I thought was having a fine match in midfield, having to go to right back.
Here's Derek White. Good pass from him. Inside Reyna, inviting run from Andy Dow, but across went Craig Moore. Good covering from the Australian international. Wonder how big a surprise it was to him to find out he was playing here today. Stavron, good play from him, a tempting ball in. All it needed was a touch. Kato Guntveit was closest, but there was quality about the way this was played in.
Yeah, no luck again, I have to say, because Stavron's done everything right. He's just tried to chip it into the area there. Guntveit, who's looking to get in the back post, scored already against Rangers from that sort of ball. Just couldn't get in there, and it went meekly past.
And Bronckhorst popping up on the right side, and Claudio Reyna alongside him. Again for Reyna, but he won't catch that. 6.5 minutes of stoppage time played, and well, that would have you tearing your hair out, wouldn't it?
Certainly not a happy man. You know, he's not been happy with his side. I'm sure he's going to read the right act at half time.
That's the half-time whistle, and the only goal so far scored by Giovanni Van Bronckhorst from a quickly taken free kick, and stand-in keeper Robbie Winters was beaten by the shot from Van Bronckhorst, and it was Jim Leighton's injury which was the first drama of the first half, caught by Rod Wallace, his jaw broken in that incident, and what a sad way for Jim Leighton to bow out of cup finals. And Ebbe Skodal was devastated at that point, clearly. Robbie Winters came on, and what a good reflex save that was from the keeper, wearing Ryan Essend's number 23 jersey, but he was beaten here by a quickly taken free kick. But Winters really should have had protection from his defence on this occasion. But Bronckhorst not picked up, and he had to score from that sort of position. Robbie Winters did his best to get in the way, but he couldn't keep the ball out. And Russell Anderson off injured for Aberdeen as well, so 2 replacements on in the first, I was going to say 45 minutes, it's actually 54 minutes when the first half ended. Rangers leads by a goal to nil. Rangers have made no changes so far. They have Neil McCann, Tugai and Sergio Porini on their 3-man bench, and I wonder whether after this match There'll be a big debate about 3 subs in the Scottish Cup campaign. It seems a dated idea, and one wonders whether what's happened here might have a big influence on changing the system. Second half underway, and a touch for Stefan Kloss. He hasn't had too many. Aberdeen have had 1 or 2 opportunities round about his goal mouth, but Aberdeen still have to spark him into serious action. Van Bronckhorst's pass to Kanchelskis. Early ball in beyond Winters. Safety first option taken by Kato Guntveit, and a corner kick conceded after just 30 seconds of the second half.
Yeah, I think Solberg is needing some treatment again here. The blow, I think this looks like a head cut. I think it was received when he clashed with Wallace in the midfield before that move got going there. I think he just headed at the back of Rod Wallace's head, and the play went on, and then all of a sudden the referee obviously spotted that and has had to stop the game for it to be wiped from his head. But they've a major blow if they lost Solberg at this stage, but you just wonder how much worse Aberdeen's luck can get.
And another look of concern plays over the face of Ebbe Skodal that Thomas Solberg will battle on, not much doubt about that. Now here comes the corner kick with George Alberts. Lofted in, Billy Dodd's not picked up. Played back in by Kanchelskis. It drops for Vidmar. Goal number 2. Only 100 seconds on the clock after the turnaround. And there's the reaction of the Rangers manager, absolutely delighted. So I wonder what his half-time team talk was, because Rangers have responded in the second half with a whole new meaning to their performance.
Yeah, he fired them up obviously because they've come out charging forward the second half. Billy Dodds looks like the chance was gone, but it was a nice turn back in Kanchelskis. Aberdeen won the header there, but I thought that he showed a lot of composure, Vidmar, actually, just to let the ball roll that extra fraction of a second there, just onto his left foot, past David Rowson, and then smashed it past Robbie Winters. Once again, it did look like a makeshift goalkeeping effort to go for that, but that's no criticism of Robbie Winters, but it was a marvellous strike from Vidmar.
The first one was a bit closer to him. I don't think he stood much of an earthly, or that one, to be honest, from Tony Vidmar, who's turning out to be a goal-scoring defender for Rangers this season. That's his 7th of this campaign, and it puts Rangers on what we would think would be easy street now. Here comes Kanchelskis. Breaks back for Reyna. In for Wallace, won the header, couldn't direct it on goal under the challenge of David Rowson. And here's where Aberdeen need to show a little bit of composure.
Yeah, long way back. You can see with Dick Abacav's reaction as well. He thinks the cup's won with that goal so early in the second half. You wouldn't bet against it as well. Aberdeen have to come out, have to push forward against Rangers, and that's only going to leave them even more vulnerable. As far as I can see now, practically no way back for them.
Rod Wallace, the match winner a year ago against Celtic, making a good run down the left side, tackled by Thomas Solberg. No need of the goals of Wallace so far for Rangers. 1 for Van Bronckhorst, 1 for Vidmar. 2-0 up, and now appears to be mission impossible for Aberdeen. Alberts, tackled by Rowson. Another corner kick. And another meeting with his public for George Alberts as he heads over to the corner flag. A feature now of Rangers games, and he gets a huge response from the crowd every time he strolls across. The Alberts corner kick for Billy Dodds! It's 3! And Aberdeen in big trouble now. No marking on Billy Dodds. Bellabed nowhere near him, and you don't give that sort of room to a man who's now scored 15 goals for Rangers and 25 for the season.
No, that's a fantastic goal. I don't think Robbie Winters had anything to do with that one at all. He could never get near that one. Even Jim Leighton wouldn't get near that. Fantastic header. It was all about the marking though. Bellabed, the second time from 2 corners, he's picking up Billy Dodds. He let him drift off him before. The last corner, he blocked the first header. That time lost him completely, but still a marvellous effort from the angle he was at, Billy Dodds. Pace and power, accuracy in the header. 3-0. As I said, at 2-0, it was all over. I think that that prediction can stand now quite easily, but at 3-0, no way back for Aberdeen.
You begin to think now about record cup winning margins. The record in the cup final is 6-1. It happened in 1972 when Celtic beat Hibs. And it also happened, Gordon will remember this one, back in 1888 when Renton beat Cambuslang by the same scoreline. And you worry now for Aberdeen?
I know, Bob Crampsey told me about that when he was there that day. But I do worry about Aberdeen. I worry about them greatly now. It's a shame if that had to happen. If it misfortune again, the one thing they don't need as well is to be on the end of an absolute hammer too, and I don't want to see that happen.
Andrei Kanchelskis has done much of the damage for Rangers, much of the softening up, you would say, in the first half. Here's Alberts, good hits. That's number 4. It may well have been in without the follow-up touch from Rod Wallace, but there's no doubt that Rangers stretch their lead. This could become embarrassing for Aberdeen. Good hits from Alberts. It was in before Wallace got there. It's a goal for Georges Alberts. It's his 20th of the season, and from 1-0 at half-time, it's now 4-0 Rangers.
Well, they were fine to get in there. I mean, Wallace and Dodds injured each other almost, and Dodds into the post there, trying to score the rebound, but it was over the line. A marvellous strike. Probably Winters, I think, realised that himself. He made no attempt to go for it. But this is the worst thing I think we could have seen, really. I know that people at home are enjoying the goals. Aberdeen fans won't themselves, but it's embarrassing now. Solberg's getting some more treatment for that cut in his head. It's all going horribly wrong for Aberdeen. We've seen it before this season, to be fair, even when they haven't had players out injured, that they've suddenly collapsed. But at 4-0 at this stage, just into the second half and no more. But you can see that Rangers have come out very determined. Dick Advocat has obviously had a go at half-time, and they're really having a real storm at Aberdeen. The game is beyond Aberdeen now. You just wonder what they've got left in terms of their own pride.
We saw pictures there of the Rangers fans singing and dancing. If you look around Hampden, it's a totally different picture at the other end of the ground, and already some Aberdeen supporters have had enough. They're heading for the exits with just 7.5 minutes gone in the second half. But they fear a humiliation, and they don't want to be part of it. The ones who are still here are giving it all they've got. Kanchelskis fouled by Paul Bernard. You could almost see Paul Bernard's patience running out there. Kanchelskis with too many tricks in the book for him, and finally in he lunged to concede the free kick. And Robbie Winters is weary. Alberts, shot deflected off the Aberdeen wall. Corner kick. Robbie Winters won't be disappointed about that. Off that thin red line. And behind for the corner kick. Another ovation for Alberts from the orange-clad Rangers support. Alberts drifts in the corner kick. Off the crossbar, again missed by Bellabed at the far post. Aberdeen survive this time. Van Bronckhorst in and headed behind by Derek White. Another corner kick. The Aberdeen defence creaking here.
That was almost like a carbon copy there as Billy Dodds gets a header in, and Bellabed, it just has to mark him. He's got to keep his eye on the man. He's just letting Billy Dodds drift away. He's going blind side of him, and then getting the header in. He's got to get a lot closer than that. He's got to get side on to him, at least challenge him.
Van Bronckhorst with the corner kick. This time up went Tony Vidmar, couldn't get contact. He was just a couple of feet off the goal line. The merest of touches would have taken this into the back of the net from Vidmar. But behind the goal it went, wide of target. Stavrum used his shoulder to hold off Vidmar. That's a good pass for Bellabed. What a good tackle by Tony Vidmar. The Moroccan thought he had the chance to pull a goal back, outstretched the leg of Vidmar, and that was a saver for Rangers. Stavrum finds some room for the shot, but he was just nudged by Tony Vidmar as he struck it, and it's well off target. No test of Stefan Klos this.
He's just going more into it, isn't he? I mean, he's getting the opportunity there to get a shot. He was through before and involved in a move that created something. Maybe, you know, just pushing out and having a little bit of a go here with Rangers taking their foot off the gas with the game being won from their point of view.
On the ball, Claudio Reyna. Andrei Kanchelskis sets off on a run. And he's got the pace to get there before McAllister. Played in on the half volley, a dangerous ball in. Mistake by Belabed again. And the Alberts effort deflected and trickles just wide. It's another mistake by the young Moroccan here. There was a chance to clear, he fumbled it. And this could have gone anywhere.
Yeah, at least he managed to block the second shot. But once again, it was the pace of Kanchelskis. He dropped short looking for the ball, but he also had the pace then to take the long pass in behind.
The Alberts corner kick. A bullet header from Craig Moore. Just couldn't quite get over it. It flew too high.
Remember in January, Craig Moore scored a goal of similar proportions when he just came on to a cross at Ibrox in the first game back after the winter break. That time he put it over the bar, but the one at Ibrox he bulleted it into net.
From Dodds to Ferguson. Reyna's touch. Billy Dodds again. Claudio Reyna onside. In for Wallace. Good tackle. A vital challenge from David Rowson, which stopped his team going 5 down.
Yeah, I think that it's a little bit late in coming out there, Aberdeen, but it was a marvellous challenge by David Rowson. I think he may have been the one that just played them onside. But you can see here as it's cut back into the path of Wallace. Rowson gets across, marvellous challenge. Derek White just follows up and clears it.
Alberts to Newman. Good run made by Billy Dodds. Tireless. That's a good ball in as well for Neil McCann. McCann reckons he was fouled by Solberg as he tried to get a scoring touch. Jim McCluskey had a look and waved the claims away. So it remains 4-0 for Rangers. 14 minutes left in the second half. Belabed. Good run made by Jess, but not the pass to find him. Barry Ferguson faltered. Here is Jess, he's offside. It wouldn't have counted. Which just about sums up his afternoon.
Yeah, he's unfortunate. Made a good run initially. There was a bad pass, but Barry Ferguson made a bit of a mess of it. Ball's flicked into his path, but he is offside, even though he didn't get shot on target.
Claudio Reyna is an international regular with the USA, the captain. It's a sloppy layoff by Neil McCann, but Rangers can be forgiven the odd lapse because the match is well won. Kanchelskis in. Here's McCann, prodded forward for Dodds. Gets there, Dodds. It was incredible that he outpaced David Rowson by several yards, got round in behind him and then got the shot on goal.
Yeah, it wasn't a great ball from Neil McCann. I think he would want to play. Billy Dodds wanted that front side of the defence, but then it would even going round the back. Dodds was still sharp enough to make a run round behind Rowson and get the shot in.
Andy Dow's pass to Jamie McAllister, chested away by Vidmar and headed back by Ferguson. They've got things well under control. Stephen Close will appreciate the company. Barry Ferguson, who's marshalling the defence in these closing stages. Albert surges forward, a good pass for Newman. McCann and Dodds are waiting. There's Billy Dodds! Good save by Robbie Winters. Stops his team going 5 down.
Yeah, a superb ball from George Alberts. Newman catching the line. Good volley from Billy Dodds. That's a great save.
I wonder if Robbie Winters will be pushing for the goalkeeper's jersey at Dodge next season. I don't think so somehow. He could have well done without his experience this afternoon, I'm sure. Alberts with the corner kick. Solberg got the header clear. Last man, Reyna. 2 guys just in front of him. Neil McCann. Billy Dodds. Vidmar to Alberts. Is there another goal for Rangers? Alberts with the shot. It looked for a moment as if it might be heading for the top corner, but it drifted too high.
Yeah, lovely skill. He used the runners there, drifted inside. He was just trying to curl it away in that far corner.
That's full time. Rangers have won the Tennant Scottish Cup by 4 goals to 0. And Rangers collect their 100th major trophy. That milestone is reached with goals from Van Bronckhorst, Vidmar, Dodds and Alberts. Aberdeen, in the end, mercilessly swept aside. And it's yet another winner's medal for these Rangers players. Robbie Winters, the stopgap goalkeeper, who was introduced after just 2 minutes of the cup final to replace the injured Jim Leighton. And Winters was beaten 4 times, and it was clear early on in the second half there was to be no fairy tale ending for Aberdeen. They finished bottom of the Scottish Premier League. They reached both cup finals. They lost to Celtic in the League Cup, and they were in the end taken apart by Rangers in the Scottish Cup final. But tragedy striking there for Jim Leighton. You feel for him so much, and Robbie Winters couldn't keep out that first half effort from Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, and straight after half-time Rangers went into overdrive. It was Tony Vidmar first, then Billy Dodds to make it 3-0, and the quick-fire goals continued with that effort from George Alberts, which was in before Dodds or Wallace could get there. A stunned look on the face of Robbie Winters, and Rangers were home and dry and heading for Tennant Scottish Cup triumph. It's been a bizarre season to be an Aberdeen supporter. Bottom of the Scottish Premier League. They've reached 2 cup finals, but they've lost both. First to Celtic, then to Rangers. But I'm sure there'll be a lot of relief among these Aberdeen players at the moment. The fact that they weren't beaten by an even heavier scoreline because of that quick-fire 3 goals straight after the interval. You really felt at that stage that the scoreline could have been absolutely anything, and there was a threat of the 6-1 record cup final scoreline being beaten. Here's an emotional moment for Jim McCluskey now, the cup final referee. 16 years at the top level as a referee, more than 20 years as a match official in Class 1. And Jim McCluskey bows out now, having seen Rangers win the cup final, and that was the case too in the other cup final he refereed. That was back in 1993. Here comes a special moment for Arthur Newman. He takes delivery of the Tennant Scottish Cup. It's a league and cup double for Rangers to go with the treble last season. Rangers continue to play monopoly with Scottish football. Stefan Klos barely tested this afternoon, but he's won over the Rangers supporters this season. And how? Andrei Kanchelskis, the same could be said of him, his recent performances. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, who scored the only goal of the first half. Last season's match winner, Rod Wallace. George Alberts gets a touch of the trophy, 20 goals for him this season. Barry Ferguson, the Football Writers Player of the Year. Scotland international Neil McCann. Claudio Reyna, who heads off on international business shortly with the USA. Billy Dodds with his hands on silverware. What a magnificent season he's had. Sergio Perini, who might have expected to have started here, but he came on as a sub, and I wonder if he'll return to Ibrox next season. We'll see. And last in the line there was Tony Vidmar, a much improved player. Another polished performance from him this afternoon, including, of course, the first of that quick-fire hat-trick of goals in the second half, which put Rangers on easy street. The 115th cup final ends in another Rangers victory. That's number 29 for them in this competition, as Rangers add to their honours list. 4 goals to 0, the final score.
Dick, congratulations, but did you feel that the injury to Jim Leighton was a major factor in the whole game?
Oh, no doubt about it. The game totally changed because we knew that if we can give a little bit more pressure on the goalie, then he will make mistakes. The first half we didn't. We just give 2 shots. It was 1 goal. But the second half we give more pressure straight forward, and yeah, it was been within 40-50 minutes it was 3-0.
The first thing you say to yourself is, "Damn, you don't put a goalkeeper on the bench." But it is a chance you take, and you know, something I discussed with my assistant, and something you think about: should we put a goalkeeper on the bench? But to beat Rangers in a cup final, you have to take some chances and gamble a little, and you can't afford to be unlucky like we were in a situation like this.
While you've been gone, someone called Billy Dodge has come in and done a very, very good job with your jersey.
Yes, I'm glad for him and I'm glad for the whole team. So, because the team doesn't exist only about Billy Dodds or Michael Mols, it's all the players.
But I mean, that's what it's about, putting pressure on you to get into the team.
No, but I think the pressure's on everybody. I think every place the manager can choose about 3 or 4 players. So it's not only up front, but only in the back, midfield, everywhere.
You can never promise anything in football, but I can promise that we will do whatever we can to strengthen the team during the summer and deliver better results in the league next season.
You've been a very powerful force in Scottish football this season, Dick. What is the forecast for next year? Do you think it can get even stronger for Rangers?
Well, we hope to continue in that, and what I said before, hopefully Mols will come back. Yeah, we still try to bring in 2 or 3 other players to improve the squad, because we have seen this season that you need all the players, and fortunately we bought Dodds on the right moment, we bought Tukai on the right moment, on the moment when the injuries were there, and they were doing a good job this season.
Congratulations, Dick.
Thank you very much.
And that makes it 5 trophies out of 6 for Dick Advocaat since he came to Ibrox 2 seasons ago. Over the piece, though, a disappointing cup final, Willie?
Yeah, I think so. I think first half, Rangers in particular, I felt were disappointing. I felt that Aberdeen put up a credible performance in the first half, but lost it completely beginning of the second half. Rangers were much better. But as a spectacle and as a competitive game, then it was a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, and clearly that awful injury to Jim Leighton put a shadow over the whole match, really, but certainly influenced the first 20 minutes, didn't it?
Yeah, without doubt. You know, it happening so early, and you know, it really stopped the game before it gets started. And you know, a really bitter blow for Aberdeen. They recovered reasonably well, and I thought they went on to have a good first half, but obviously over the piece it would have an influence in the outcome of the game.
But at the same time, Robbie Winters went into goal, Gordon, and I don't know if you can fault him for certainly 3 of the goals, maybe even all 4. Rangers were very much the better side, weren't they?
Yeah, I think the big difference was just after half-time, when Rangers obviously came back out with Dick Advocaat's words ringing in their ear, because I'm certain that he was the unhappy manager. It was a strange, I mean, history won't do Aberdeen any favours looking at back 4-0 defeat in a Scottish Cup final, but the story of the match really was that they lost their goalkeeper in the early part, and after that they had a problem to try and cope with Rangers.
Yeah, it was an awful injury, clearly, and Jim Leighton later underwent surgery for a fractured jaw and broken teeth. Totally accidental, though, Willie, but a nasty, nasty collision, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I don't think any blame could lie with Rod Wallace. I think it was a legitimate challenge. The ball coming in, excellent cross, 50-50. In fact, it seems to be his knee that catches Jim on the side of the face, but it looks a real nasty one when you see the incident. And you know, obviously Jim Leighton had the ball, but it just spilled out of his hands because of the severity of the blow.
And an awful way for Jim to end what's been a terrific career. But it does raise the larger point, Gordon, of should we be asking coaches to choose only 3 substitutes and therefore risking not taking a substitute keeper?
Yeah, well, they have the option to play a goalkeeper. I mean, that would be the argument against it. They said you could have a goalkeeper and 2 other substitutes, but most of the time teams take a chance. Aberdeen did it today, and majority of the time you get away with it. But unfortunately, in a situation like today, Aberdeen have paid heavily for the fact that they lost their goalkeeper so early. They have to put an outfield player on in his place. And I mean, Robbie Winters is clearly not a goalkeeper. You could see that today. And I think that we have to really look at the rule as it stands just now. And I think we've got to change the Scottish Cup. The Premier Division sides are used to playing now with 5 subs all the time. And I don't see why all the other clubs can't do the same and comply. This is one of our main tournaments other than the league, so why not have 5 subs?
Yeah, would you go along with that, Willie? Would you like to see 5 subs?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I definitely feel it's a way to go. You know, the teams are now used to shaping up and working with the 5 subs, so I don't see any reason why we shouldn't have that in place for the Scottish Cup. Seems to me that it's a way forward.
Yeah, especially when it has the potential to disrupt one of the great occasions. The 4 Rangers goals then, and the first of them was a dreadful Aberdeen defensive error, Willie. This was painful to watch, really, wasn't it?
Well, it really was. You know, a ball played over the top like that, over the head of a central defender. Really, you know, he's either got to be aware of the run coming from the midfield, or the other central defender's got to come in and cover it.
And this was the second of them. Again, poor defensive work, perhaps.
Yeah, Chelsea does well to knock it back. I thought it was good work by Tony Vermaelen. Just let that ball, an extra fraction of a second, as you see here, just to let it run onto his left foot. He could have hit it earlier, but decided just to steady himself for the shot and hammed it in the roof of the net. And for me, that was the game over. I thought as soon as it went 2-0, that was it.
I think Dick Advocaat thought so too. That was the first minute of the second half, and then just a couple of minutes later, great header by Billy Dodds. Bad defending again,
oh,
Willie?
Yeah, I mean, it's a carbon copy. Bellabed at the back post, gets himself in front of the ball for the second goal, and then the third goal, he gets himself even further advanced, and it's an easy header for Billy Dodds to stick away.
And then it became 3 in 5 minutes, and George Albert's, it was in the net. Billy Dodds gave the post an awful clatter, Gordon, didn't he?
I know, it couldn't hurt there. I mean, he and Wallace are obviously fighting for a goal there, and both have scored in cup finals now for Rangers. But I think I was waiting for that to happen all afternoon after Robbie Winters, and that George Alberts would unleash one on target, and he would have no chance, and that's exactly what happened there. But it was a bit, I mean, it was academic at that stage what was going to happen, because the Rangers already had the game tied up. I think the only benefit from Aberdeen's point of view was that, having got themselves 4-0 up, with still about another 38 minutes to play or whatever it was, you thought Rangers could go on here and make it a real embarrassment. And I'm glad that didn't happen. I think that 4-0 is pretty...
yeah. It was a real anti-climax. I've never sat in a cup final and really just wished it was over almost.
Yeah, it was over so early. I thought the first half, to be fair though, was reasonably competitive and encouraging from an Aberdeen point of view, because they did play reasonably well without really testing the Clausen goal. But to come out in the second half and for Rangers to go into a 3-goal lead so early in the second half, the game was over far too early for me.
Yeah. It was a final Robbie Winters will clearly remember, but probably for all the wrong reasons. Suddenly he's a goalkeeper, and he did have 2 outstanding saves, didn't he? 1 in each half. This is the shot by Kanchelskis. Instinctive save.
Yeah, it was Wallace that hit that. Just
Wallace, rather, yeah.
Good run by Kanchelskis and a little flick. I think he's taking it for himself, actually, and just happens to be in the path of Rod Wallace. Hits it well, and it is instinctive. I mean, just put a hand up. It's a good height for any goalkeeper. That's kind of probably the one I would have saved if I'd been in goal.
Don't exaggerate. What about this one, Willie? This was a good save.
Yeah, I think it was, because it's coming from one side and Billy Dodds puts it into the other corner. He's fortunate in that he hasn't actually adjusted his feet to go to the far post, and you know, he finds himself in the right position. But it's a good strike from Billy Dodds, and he had to react sharply to it. A good hand on it.
It was. So some small consolation there. Now, of course, if you are a Rangers fan, you might well want a souvenir of the big day. You can win a signed Rangers Cup final shirt. All you have to do is tell us the answer to this simple question. How many trophies have Rangers now won in their history? How many trophies have Rangers now won in their history? Drop us a line to this address. BBC Sports Scotland, Queen Margaret Drive, Glasgow, G12 8DG. A signed Rangers Cup final shirt is up for grabs. And so once again, the celebrations were back at Ibrox, and as the team headed back to begin the celebrations, Alison Walker went with them.
Rangers fans had been waiting almost 2 hours for their all-conquering heroes to return from the National Stadium, and it was worth the wait. Lorenzo Amoruso with the SPL trophy and captain Arton Newman examining more closely Rangers' 29th Scottish Cup. Around 4,000 fans showed their appreciation of their side's double triumph.
Coming back and seeing this, this is when it does kick home. You come back and you see all the fans there sitting there waiting for you. So, I mean, we've just milked up the occasion again. Now we're going to celebrate, to be honest with you.
What about your season? It's something else, isn't it?
That is, everybody's been saying fairy tale stuff, but I'm going to savour it all, because I was a Rangers fan as a boy, and then I come here and I look at it just now, so I'm just going to enjoy the occasion.
Can things get better?
I don't know. Hopefully, yep. I'll just keep on trying hard and see what happens.
It's always a fantastic feeling, especially when you're the captain of Rangers. You can lift the cup as first in the air, and I think it's a fantastic finish of the season after winning the treble last year and winning the double now. I think hopefully we can continue that in next season.
And you become greedy, you want more, don't you, all the time?
Yeah, but I think that's normal. You compete on the highest level, and when you win the trophies here in Scotland, that's fantastic, but hopefully we can do well in Europe next season as well.
What happens now? Do you all have a party, or are you quite relaxed?
There's a party tonight, and after the party everybody is going on holiday. We're off for 4 weeks, but I have to join the Dutch national squad tomorrow evening, so another day.
And as Dick Advocat builds his side for the new campaign, he knows he won't have any problems finding financial backing.
I'm there as really an investor. I mean, I'm not part of the control from the footballing side of the business. I mean, I'm very happy with what David and the team are doing, and I'm supporting that financially rather than interfering or influencing it.
Might there be a time when you would put more money in?
I think so. I think if the situation developed and in the future there was more money required to continue to achieve the goals, certainly based on my early experience. I mean, I've thoroughly enjoyed today. I've got more out of it than perhaps I even expected. It has been a lot of fun, and yeah, I think I would be there second time round.
And Rangers and their many fans will clearly look forward to further excuses for celebrations next year, and for Aberdeen and for Hearts and for every other potential challenger, not least Celtic, Gordon. There's a huge job in hand, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a big way to go to catch up. I think the one team that's got a chance is Celtic, because they can obviously put a big financial input into it in terms of getting in the right set of players, but they've got to get a coach as well.
Absolutely, and from Aberdeen's point of view, it's going to be a long, painful summer, Willie, isn't it?
Yeah, I think a lot of work to be done over the summer, looking to bring in 2 or 3 new players. They've got to improve. They're going into Europe as our representatives. We don't want them to go in there and let everybody down, so let's hope they get another couple of players in and they see some credible performances next season.
All right, thanks very much indeed to you both. It's been a good season for all of us. Let's hope you've enjoyed having it with us here on Sports Scene Match of the Day. Enjoy your summer, and we of course will be back next season to see whether Rangers once again will be the dominant force in Scottish football. They certainly proved it again today in this cup final. From Hampden, good night.